Title: A Dance with Maniacs. Chapter 1: The Tangled Past. Michael DeSanta sat in his luxurious Los Santos mansion, contemplating the twisted path that had led him to this point. He had once been a successful criminal, but now he longed for a normal life, away from the chaos and violence that had consumed him for years. His friend, Trevor Phillips, on the other hand, reveled in the madness, finding solace in the darkest corners of their criminal world. Their strained relationship was a result of their conflicting personalities. Michael was a talkative and expressive character, often complaining and joking about his life. He had a deep sense of remorse for his past actions, constantly struggling with the guilt that weighed heavily on his conscience. Trevor, on the other hand, was far more chaotic and unpredictable, a true maniac in every sense of the word. Chapter 2: The Unpredictable Maniac. Trevor Phillips had always been a force to be reckoned with. His history of violence, sociopathic murder, and drug trafficking had earned him a reputation as one of the most dangerous men in the criminal underworld. He thrived on the thrill of robbing, murdering, and killing, finding pleasure in the chaos he created. Unlike Michael, Trevor had no desire to retire from his criminal life. He saw it as his purpose, his reason for existence. The thought of a normal life bored him to no end. He craved the adrenaline rush that came with each heist, each kill. His unpredictability made him a ticking time bomb, ready to explode at any moment. Chapter 3: The Dance Begins. As Michael struggled with his past and his desire for a normal life, he found himself torn between loyalty to his friend and the need to escape the madness that consumed him. He knew that staying with Trevor meant risking everything he had worked so hard to build, but he also knew that leaving would come at a great cost. Their conflicting personalities clashed, creating a volatile dynamic that threatened to tear them apart. Michael's constant need for expression clashed with Trevor's unpredictable nature, leading to explosive arguments and moments of intense violence. Yet, deep down, they both knew that they needed each other, that their twisted bond was what kept them alive. Chapter 4: The Struggle Within. As the dance with maniacs continued, Michael found himself questioning his own sanity. He wondered if he was truly any different from Trevor, if his desire for a normal life was just a facade to hide his own dark desires. The guilt and remorse that plagued him only intensified, pushing him further into the abyss of his own mind. Meanwhile, Trevor reveled in the chaos, finding joy in the destruction he caused. He saw himself as a force of nature, unstoppable and untamed. His unpredictability kept everyone on their toes, never knowing what he would do next. But deep down, he too struggled with his own demons, haunted by a past that refused to let go. Chapter 5: The Final Act. As the novel hurtles towards its climax, Michael and Trevor find themselves at a crossroads. Their strained relationship reaches its breaking point, forcing them to confront their own demons and make choices that will forever change their lives. In a final showdown, Michael must decide whether to embrace his darker side or fight for the normal life he so desperately craves. Trevor, on the other hand, must confront the consequences of his actions and decide if the chaos he thrives on is worth the price he pays. In this action-packed novel, The Dance with Maniacs takes center stage, exploring the motivations and personalities of two deeply flawed characters. Descriptive language and a gripping narrative style bring their world to life, captivating readers until the very last page. Title: The Chaotic Balance. Chapter 1: A Biker's Code. Johnny Klebitz, the enigmatic leader of the Lost Motorcycle Club, was a man of contradictions. With his rugged appearance and fierce loyalty to his brothers, he embodied the essence of a chaotic neutral character. His actions were driven by a unique moral compass, one that constantly teetered between decency and madness. In the heart of Liberty City, Johnny found himself torn between his desire for a peaceful life and the chaos that seemed to follow him wherever he went. He had a reputation for being a maniac, prone to fits of rage and violence. Yet, there were moments when he displayed a genuine concern for others, a glimmer of decency that hinted at a hidden hero within. Chapter 2: The Decent Guy. Johnny's decent side often emerged when he interacted with his brothers in the club. He would go to great lengths to protect them, even if it meant putting himself in harm's way. He was known for his unwavering loyalty, always standing up for what he believed was right, even if it meant going against the law. One particular incident showcased Johnny's decent side. When a rival gang threatened the safety of his brothers, he took it upon himself to negotiate a truce. He showed compassion and understanding, seeking a peaceful resolution rather than resorting to violence. It was in these moments that Johnny's true character shone through, revealing a man who genuinely cared for those around him. Chapter 3: The Maniac Unleashed. However, there were times when Johnny's chaotic nature got the better of him. He had a short fuse, and when pushed to his limits, he would unleash his inner maniac. These moments were marked by explosive outbursts, where he would throw tantrums and engage in reckless behavior. One such incident occurred when a rival gang member insulted his club. Johnny's rage consumed him, and he embarked on a violent rampage, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. It was during these moments that he seemed to revel in chaos, embracing his darker side without remorse. Chapter 4: The Anti-Hero Emerges. As Johnny's story unfolded, it became clear that he was an anti-hero, a complex character who defied traditional notions of good and evil. He had no desire to be a hero or a villain, he simply followed his own set of rules. His actions were driven by a sense of self-preservation and a desire to protect those he cared about, even if it meant resorting to questionable methods. In the final showdown with a powerful crime lord, Johnny's anti-heroic nature was on full display. He fought with a ferocity that bordered on madness, yet his intentions remained rooted in a desire to bring justice to the city. It was a battle that blurred the lines between heroism and villainy, leaving Johnny's true nature open to interpretation. Epilogue: The Chaotic Balance. Johnny Klebitz was a man of contradictions, a chaotic neutral character who walked the fine line between decency and madness. His actions were driven by a unique moral compass, one that defied traditional notions of good and evil. He was neither a hero nor a villain, but a complex anti-hero who embraced his chaotic nature. In the end, Johnny's legacy was one of balance. He taught us that life is not always black and white, that sometimes the line between good and evil is blurred. His story serves as a reminder that even in chaos, there can be moments of decency, and in darkness, a glimmer of light. Title: The Chaotic Balance. Chapter 1. A Biker's Tale. Johnny Klebitz, the enigmatic leader of the Lost Motorcycle Club, was a man of contradictions. With his rugged appearance and fierce loyalty to his brothers, he was respected and feared in the criminal underworld of Liberty City. However, beneath his tough exterior, there lay a chaotic neutral character, torn between his desire to be a decent person and his propensity for maniacal outbursts. In one moment, Johnny could be seen as a decent guy, helping the less fortunate and standing up for what he believed was right. He would often go out of his way to protect his brothers and ensure their safety. His loyalty knew no bounds, and he would risk his life to defend those he cared about. These acts of kindness and selflessness endeared him to many, even those outside of his biker gang. But then, there were moments when Johnny's temper would flare, and he would become a maniac, unleashing his pent-up rage on anyone who crossed his path. His tantrums were legendary, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. It was during these moments that he seemed to revel in chaos, embracing his darker side without remorse. Chapter 2. The Thin Line. Johnny's chaotic nature made him an anti-hero, someone who didn't fit into the traditional mold of a hero or a villain. He had no desire to be a savior or a destroyer, he simply existed in a gray area, balancing on the thin line between good and evil. His actions were driven by his own moral compass, which often led him down a path of violence and mayhem. There were times when Johnny's heroic side shone through. He would take on dangerous missions, risking his life to protect his brothers and the innocent. He would stand up against injustice, even if it meant going against the law. These moments showcased his capacity for good, proving that he was not entirely devoid of a conscience. However, there were also instances when Johnny's villainous side emerged. He would engage in criminal activities, resorting to violence and intimidation to achieve his goals. His actions could be heinous and evil, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. It was during these moments that he seemed to revel in chaos, embracing his darker side without remorse. Chapter 3. The Battle Within. As Johnny navigated the treacherous world of crime and chaos, he struggled to find a balance between his decent side and his maniacal tendencies. He was constantly at war with himself, torn between his desire to do good and his inclination towards chaos. It was a battle that raged within him, threatening to consume him entirely. The novel follows Johnny's journey as he grapples with his chaotic nature, trying to find redemption and purpose in a world that seemed determined to drag him down. Along the way, he encounters a cast of colorful characters, each with their own motivations and agendas. Some will help him on his path to self-discovery, while others will try to exploit his chaotic tendencies for their own gain. In the end, Johnny Klebitz's story is one of a man struggling to find his place in a world that refuses to be neatly categorized into good and evil. He is a chaotic neutral character, constantly teetering on the edge of darkness and light. It is through this struggle that he ultimately finds his own version of balance, embracing both his decent side and his maniacal tendencies, and accepting that he is neither wholly good nor evil. The Chaotic Balance is an action-packed novel that delves into the complexities of human nature, exploring the blurred lines between heroism and villainy. With its descriptive writing style and captivating storyline, it takes readers on a thrilling journey through the mind of a man who defies traditional notions of morality.